Hi everyone, it's Justine. Today's video is for fun. Since people know I'm French, I'm getting more and more very sweet comments under my videos in French or trying to write in French, which is extremely cute. And I realized how many French words are actually used in English. Some of them are used translation for translation, they mean the same in both languages. Others mean something completely different. So I started a list of those words, focusing just on fashion and beauty to start with, and it is quite a list already. So I want to share that list with you guys. If you feel that some of the words are hard to spell, which I totally get because in French we don't pronounce most of the letters in a word, I know that, then feel free to activate the subtitles, which are next to the volume button. It's a button that you can click on, so you see the subtitles and you know how to spell the words. It's gonna go fast, so let's start with fashion words. When you find something or someone elegant and nice looking, you say it's chic, not chic. Couture or haute couture is hands-on fashion for which there is no inventory. Each piece is made to order and literally tailored on the body of the person who's gonna wear it. There are only a few pieces of each garment that will ever exist worldwide. On the other side, prêt-à-porter is produced in advance, so you have inventory of those garments, and no tailoring work is planned. You go into the store, put it on, and leave the store. It's ready to be worn. So it's actually the opposite of haute couture. Making a faux pas, which is used a lot in fashion, actually means putting one foot ahead of the other, but placing in a wrong position, like when you're dancing and you step onto the foot of your partner. The entire society in the room is embarrassed. Lamé is a type of fabric made of metallic yarns. That's why it's so shiny on the surface when it moves. Lamé has an accent on the E. What is called lingerie in English is actually pronounced lingerie in French, and it's the exact translation for women's underwear. I do agree though, it sounds a bit more sexy and suggestive in English. A culotte in French has nothing to do with the culottes that you guys wear, those white pants, half calf length, elegant pants. It's something completely different. In French, it means the most basic, standard and unsexy type of underwear for women, the kind that you buy in packs of 3. Now, would that qualify to be called lingerie or not? A provocateur is an agitator, someone who provokes or tries to create an uproar or trouble. So the brand Agent Provocateur, which is a lingerie brand, says what it says. That's exactly what they want their consumers to feel like. À la mode means fashionable, trendy. It certainly has nothing to do with the dessert that includes ice cream or with a dish that has cheese on top of it. An applique is a motif that you attach onto the surface of a fabric. It's not the same as embroidery because embroidery consists of just thread that you sew really tight onto the fabric. But you know what? In French, we don't really say applique. I heard that so much when I was studying fashion in the US, and they were like, oh, you're French, you should know what it means. I know what applique means. It doesn't mean what you mean. The corsage is the chest of an adult woman. So it includes curves, that's what I mean. By extension, it also means the part of a garment that covers that area for modesty. And it used to be something you would lace up over a corset. That's why it's called corsage. When you say that in French, it is quite suggestive. It's not something you would say in a daily conversation. Petite is the feminine adjective meaning someone who's small. So a small woman, tiny woman, or a little girl. You use that word just to refer to the height, whereas in English, it means an adult woman who is short but with regular proportions. So it actually doesn't mean the same in French and in English. I'm sure there are many more words in fashion that come from the French language, but now let's move on to beauty for a minute. A chignon is a high bun, technically, pulled towards the back, and it has to be nice and tidy to be called a chignon. Ballet dancers wear chignons, and they do pointe and entrechat, which are also terribly French words. Ballet words are used in French, in the text, in many other languages. A coquette is a lady who's trying to flirt and tease potentially interested candidates using her physical appearance, her outfits, and her makeup. It's not exactly a compliment in French. Wearing eau de Cologne was trending in all the courts of Europe, of kings and queens, before modern perfumes were invented. But in fact, Cologne is called Köln. It's a city in Germany, not in France. So to be fair, we should be using the German word because that's where eau de Cologne is from. Now, eau de toilette was slightly perfumed water that noble and rich people in former times used in the morning to wash their faces and hands instead of taking a proper shower. Not that sexy, is it? Faire sa toilette means washing yourself. That's it. It is not as poetic as you'd think, I bet. Rouge is the powder that you apply as a final makeup touch once you're done to make yourself look lively and fresh. You know what? In French, we don't say rouge. We say blush, because using the English word is a lot cooler. Or we say fard à joues, which I admit is impossible to spell. 3 words, 1 accent. Horrible. A brunette is a brown hair lady. Well, in French, brune actually means black-haired. So every time I talk about hair in my videos, I have to think real hard before I say it. Otherwise, I get it wrong every time. A bourgeois was a rich citizen, the category between noble and rich families and the poor normal people who had basically no rights. Normal people used to hate bourgeois, and even today bourgeois is quite a negative word to say. But guess what? It's also the name of a cosmetics brand, Bourjois. And every time I hear it, I wonder, why on earth would you want to name your brand that way? Now, why are so many French words used in English, especially in those topics? Why is it cooler to say it in French when you actually also have words for them in English? French used to be the language of the king and the highborns since the Middle Age everywhere in Europe. They were all cousins and they talk to each other in French as a way of showing to the rest of the world that they were different and better. And those people without much money didn't work. They kept busy with outfits, with looking pretty, and with food. That's why, especially in those topics, you find so many words in French. Et voilà, that's the end of this video. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you found it entertaining. Thank you so much. And let me know in the comments below all the words that I forgot on my list. I'll see you Wednesday and Sunday again, as every week. And until then, take care. Bye bye.